All right, still no theme song, but if there was a theme song for today for me, it would be "It's the most wonderful time of the year." It's Doc and Snacker.
Yes.
I'm Kyle Christ, the snacker.
I'm Dr. Mike, the sometimes snacker.
Yeah,
sometimes exerciser.
Yeah. Sometimes
it's snack season for me.
Sometimes bodybuilder. I thought it was bodybuilder.
Sometimes. Yeah. And not at the moment. So it's like it's off. How about this? It's off season right here.
Well, it's also Shamrock Shake season.
Ah, that's what it is. Wasn't sure.
And this year they've added to the menu not only their Shamrock Shakes at McDonald's, there are Shamrock McFlurries.
Shamrock McFlurries.
For the first time, mint ice cream with Oreo or M&M topping.
All right, so right away the health portion of it. What makes it green? I know that's probably someone knows that out there. Like, do you actually know what makes it green?
Isn't mint green?
No, McDonald's doesn't. There's no mints in McDonald's stuff. You think they actually have mints? There's not even ice. There's not even milk in that stuff.
It's I believe it's technically non-dairy dessert product.
Okay,
I think.
Okay, I'll look into that for the next time.
I worked there. We put it. It was a beige, maybe a manila colored liquid that you put into the machine,
and it turns it green.
It turns it chocolate, vanilla, strawberry, or seasonal flavor. Which
we could do a whole thing about how the fake taste or the fake. What do you call it? Like mint. The flavoring, the whole. It started with McCormick with vanilla. There's a whole story about it. We could do this sometime. Like how they cracked the code, and there's scientists that figured out like how to make grape juice make you think it tastes like grapes, even though there's no grape in there.
Grape
like
flavor.
That whole concept. So when you think of Shamrock Shakes, you think, all right, yeah, it's cool. We're contributing to the culture of the season, but like, what makes it green? And it's not mint. Probably. I mean, I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you what, it might be flavor because
it's some mad scientist. Ooh. It's some mad scientist in Glendale that has like some kind of formula that we can make this green, and he's going to think it tastes like mint.
You say mad scientist, but I say maybe prophet or savior. But unfortunately, because of our first Dr. Mike Keystone fact. Yeah. I decided to be weighing myself in the morning, and because of that, I'm back off sugar. So this might be the first year.
Fantastic.
The first year, maybe in my life, that I will not have a Shamrock Shake.
Oh, so wow! You talk about it, and that's fantastic.
We'll see.
I got goose pimples.
We'll see. I hit one drive-through already in bypass and instead just went for the McDouble.
Fantastic.
So
now you got it's not anti, but the pro. Good eating neurons are firing more than the other ones. That's what it sounds like.
We'll see. It's almost 2 weeks without sugar, but
nice.
I'm not seeing any. But
you're not craving though. You're not craving, or
when I do crave, I feed myself with beef jerky, almonds, and raspberry. I know there's some sugar in raspberries, but
it's minimal.
Yeah,
but I have to say though, I did see. I think I saw a video of you, like one of your comedy clips, recent.
Yeah. And
somebody made a comment underneath. It said, "Yo, bro, looks like you lost some weight." That's like it wasn't like, "Hey, that shit was funny." It was like, "Yo, bro," he wasn't commenting on your comic ability. He's like, "Hey, bro, it looks like you lost some weight."
And I take that.
I saw it was cool.
I filmed that was like last fall. So I feel that I look better than I feel bloated in that video. So that's like
that
guy just once booked on my cosplay show. He comes to every show and he begs and begs.
See, there he goes. He goes right to the it's a mistake. It's like, no, just say thank you.
My ass. Yeah. Anyway, all right. Well, I thank you. I thank him for the comment, and I thank you for getting me on the no sugar trend.
Well, I couldn't do it. I'm just like on your side, pushing you over. Yeah.
And that was because of your first. What do we call it? Keystone habits.
Keystone habits. It's not like oh my God, I'm going to change everything today. One little habit that could lead to other habits. Based on keystone is like that piece of the stone that's the keystone,
keeps the hearth together.
There's a punchline there, like there's a keystone, but I mean, we'll that's for later.
Yeah, that's watch Lock and Key.
You could do a whole bit about, hey, what's up with keystone habits, and then you could just do a whole.
Well, that'll be your bit.
Yeah, I could do that.
So go back to last episode to hear more about that first Keystone habit. Right now, I think it's time to introduce our guest. We have a special guest with us today. This guy is, he's a comedian. You've seen him on Cosplay Comedy on, every con that we take over. He's been there. He's got his new show, Butt Dial, which
nice.
Selling out Lancashire in only its sophomore episode or whatever.
Yeah.
And why we've brought him here today is he seems to be, at least from the outside, one of these CrossFit cultists.
Oh yeah, no, he's there. Yeah,
so welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen, Jeff Hopkins.
Hey, thanks, Stock and Snacker. Guys, appreciate you having me on. I really appreciate it. Yes, I am doing Butt Dial. It is at the Acme Comedy Theater, and we had a great show on Friday night with some comics that you guys know. Sold out that show, and who knows, it might be nobody the next
what do you do once a week, once a month? Or?
It's first and third Fridays at Acme Comedy Theater going through May, and what it is, it's a comedy game show where 4 comics compete by answering or trying to help 3 people with problems, and they do have big problems that we kind of butt dial at random via FaceTime. So you see these people on FaceTime, and the comics are looking at them. And Kyle was very funny on our inaugural episode.
I bombed, actually. I was unhelpful.
He was very helpful.
That means you did good, yeah.
No, I made fun of the caller. I was trying to entertain the audience. And then they were just like, well, this guy's being mean.
I would say Kyle did exactly as his instincts told him to, just have fun with it. And because if anybody's going to a comedian for help, they're the ones who should plan on being disappointed.
No, great idea.
Yeah. And I will own that I'm a CrossFit cultist. I've been going to CrossFit for 10 years, and I entered a guy who was very cynical about fitness. It's always been something I might have done begrudgingly, but it was the domain of other people. Other people are those gym people. Those people are those fit people, those abs people. And any group fitness experience, I was always by myself at the gym. But
so let's go back to high school.
Yeah, sure.
Were you in high school? Were you
in
athletic,
high school,
or how would you call yourself, like physical wise?
Absolutely not athletic. Okay. And I was always kind of, if not pudgy, just kind of a little pasty, And I was a kid who played 2 years of Little League, and I sucked. I was the kid.
Right field?
Right field. Absolutely right field. And I missed,
that's America, right field.
Totally right field.
There's a punchline there somewhere, right?
Yeah. Could take a walk. That was good. I was taking a walk.
Hope the fucking kid walks. Come on, walk this guy.
Walk
duck down low or get beamed.
Or not afraid to get hit by the ball. So not athletic, and if so, like jogging was always the thing that if I would ever do anything, it would be jogging. But like you guys, I was, kind of found solace in being, if not the hot guy, the funny guy, the guy who could get whatever wonderful young women can lower themselves to be hanging out with me. I got him by making him laugh. I was always that kind of.
Did you get in trouble when did you enjoy causing disturbance in class with laughs?
Oh, absolutely. I was definitely a class clown.
Weren't afraid of whatever punishment at the time.
Right. Yeah. I think I was strategic enough to kind of know when to do it, not get in trouble or whatever.
So you had the comedic timing down in high school.
Yeah. I feel like I was usually kind of smart about the whole thing. I never really
just enough.
Yeah, just enough. It didn't show in my grade point average that I was very smart at all. But
What about eating? Was your family always going out for fast food, or were they making food at home?
Mostly making food at home. I think fast food has become cheaper in the last 20 years or whatever. So we actually were under the impression, I don't think it was for health reasons, was that just we can't afford to go through McDonald's.
Really?
We can't afford. Yeah,
$2.99 for a value meal in '94.
Where was this? You were born. You said born and raised in Kansas City.
Yeah, Kansas City. Okay. So either that just wasn't part of the practice of our house. It was a little bit more in high school. Once I had my own job, my own money, we'd drive through a fast food thing over lunch break or something like that. I like to eat a lot. As a kid, my parents separated, so I was kind of a latchkey kid. So usually when I came home, if we had a loaf of bread and peanut butter, then we were lucky. And so that was what kind of dinner was.
So when your parents, I don't want to talk about it, it's tragical for you, but when your parents split, did that change the way you ate?
Oh, yeah. It was.
So your diet changed?
It was a total nuclear family until that dynamic happened. And it kind of blew that stuff up a little bit so that we would come home and there wasn't necessarily always like a meal there. Right. And if so, there was something, maybe it was something that you would, I don't know, maybe I'd eat a bowl of cereal or eat a.
But you didn't have that classic like sit down meal. You had that, but then that changed.
That's right. Wow. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. So that's kind of pretty much the profile as a kid. And for me, fitness, and maybe this was a lot with the younger people with that generation, fitness was sports. And my brother was the sports guy. Oh, okay. I was the reading comic books and eating a bag of powdered donuts.
Still same.
Yeah. And with a big drink, of Pepsi, not the big gulp or whatever they call it here. I don't know what they call it now. But back in Kansas City, that was my ideal day. It was a huge Pepsi, some powdered donuts, and a Spider-Man comic book or something like that.
So takes me back.
Yeah.
and then so 10 years ago, tell us about like what was going on. Yeah. Like where, I think obviously it changed locations, but what was it that how did you get into that first CrossFit? Like who or what got you in there?
Yeah. I had a job that afforded me a lot of free time, and I would go to the gym by myself, kind of a regular, kind of almost like a hotel type of gym where I had the machine and stuff like that. Well, somehow I managed to basically hurt myself through repetitive stress, doing the same routine almost every day.
Did you go to the gym because you were worried, or you just kind of want to maintain, or did you have, what was your like ambition at the gym at the time? Was it just kind of
just to
maintain a health, maintain, or
maintain.
You weren't looking for some particular goal, or you just
I had no goals other than just try to be a little bit more fit. You know what happened? I started becoming a gym rat. I worked on a cruise ship. I worked on a cruise ship for a while. And you
comedy? You did comedy?
Yeah, comedy on a cruise ship. So I toured with Second City on a cruise ship. So it's improv comedy. And I did stand up on the boat,
you got food. You got food. I mean, that's all you can do. If you want to just eat all day, it's there for you.
And what I was I was also recently married and recently sober. Women and alcohol were not part of the profile of anything that I could partake in. So I had all this time. And so I knew a cruise ship's just a big floating buffet. I knew I was going to turn into a horrible lard ass if I didn't kind of stay focused on
wonderful lard ass.
Wonderful,
wonderful, funny, talented,
funny talent, many redeeming qualities, well intentioned. But so I just hit the gym every day, and
that's on the boat when it was moving.
On the boat, yeah. So what I found was one challenge I had was every day. Doing at least an hour of weights and then 45 minutes worth of cardio, but then flip-flopping between two routines. So I had back and bi one day, chest and try the next day. Within 2 months, I was a mess of repetitive stress, tennis elbow, golf, forearm. I was just in pain. Wow. And so that sucked. I did lose a lot of weight. I did kind of get in shape, but then the repercussions were pretty severe. Once I got off the boat, I knew I needed to get some guidance. And I'd heard of CrossFit as this kind of extreme boot camp. It was like CrossFit has matured out of this identity, but in the beginning, its marketing was like an energy drink. It was like extreme, and this is for
Are you tired of doing your routine? Come to this routine.
Our warm up is your workout was one of their kind of like
little catchphrases. Yeah.
Grab a monster.
Our warm up is your workout. Wow, that's kind of like it gets those guys that are like, I could do that.
Yeah.
And let's go check this out.
I had done a few like boot camp challenges and mud runs and things like that, and stuff like that. But I was just pretty much just kind of running. But I immediately was freaked out and was really scared of CrossFit. And it was like, I knew I was going to go after work every day. I was going to go hit it around 6 o'clock every day. So all day, I'd have that feeling like the schoolroom bully just came up to you and said, I'm going to kick your ass after class.
At 6 o'clock.
At 6 o'clock.
Exercise today.
You have to be there.
You better be there. So all day, I would be like freaking out about it. So I started going in the mornings. So first, I'd hit it first thing in the morning. And I found at this particular CrossFit, the membership, this is CrossFit High Voltage in Burbank. The owners are Chico Dimitrov and Dan Crawley, and they're the awesomest dudes in the world. At the time, there's a guy named Tim Thackeray who was the owner. But anyway, this particular CrossFit, half the people there worked for a studio or in entertainment. So
Hollywood types. Right?
Hollywood types. Yeah. So they're geeks, they're dorks, they love entertainment, they're goofballs. So it wasn't the gym rats that I thought it was going to meet.
Okay.
And I found at this particular, a group fitness is a different kind.
That's interesting. That's interesting. The people you were surrounded by weren't what you expected.
They weren't what I expected. And even the ones like the buffer, the dude, the more yoked the dude, the nicer the dude was. Because CrossFit is like expensive. It's a group fitness kind of thing. It has a lot of community to it. Group exercise, I find, is kind of like that. You have to thrive on community if you're in a group fitness thing like a boot camp or something like that. Or it could be ballroom dancing or Zumba or something like that. You have to love the group thing. And not everybody is motivated by that. There's some kind of lone wolf kind of people. Those weren't the kind of people at CrossFit. The kind of thing I got was this big yoked dude going, "Bro, you're looking great today." Or, "Bro, hey, good lift, man." Fist bump. And he would fist bump you so hard your fucking hand would turn numb. But it was the better the athlete, the cooler they were. And I was so pleased, and it was so awesome. And so that was cool.
And then you just stuck with it, obviously.
I stuck with it, but I what I should say is I had kind of I guess a little bit of a journey, and over 10 years, I'm not surprised that things would change. Your relationship with the person would change, your relationship with yourself. My relationship with fitness kind of went on this little roller coaster. And what I should say is the first year I was around all these people were all energetic. CrossFit as a trend had just started. So it's like we're all discovering the same band at the same time, and we're so into them, and we're so digging it. Nickelback, man. and then after a year, I had a few little injuries, like some of the
similar
things,
to what you had before.
Things where I wasn't stretching enough, or I wasn't blank enough. It wasn't, or I was hitting it so hard without really kind of
resting.
Yeah, that's something I've only learned really recently. Is if you want to hit something harder, you got to rest even harder, and you got to also work on your mobility and your diet even harder. So after about a year, I got injured. Not so much that I quit, but so much that I just kind of settled back, and I settled into this persona that as comics you guys kind of might kind of identify with. I decided, you know what, I'm going to go 3 times a week, and I'm going to be kind of the class clown in the back. I'm not going to push myself. Okay. I'm not going to put myself out there. My mantra was, well, you're never going to be able to do blank. You're never going to have abs. You're never going to be one of these amazing fitness people. So just kind of, just tread water and be in this little groove thing. And I was like that for like 6 years.
Wow.
I didn't quit, but I would go at least 3 times a week. But my nutrition sucked. I would use fitness as a reason to be able to eat junk food. And
right? We've talked about that.
I have to. Yes, I can't eat unless I exercise.
3 push-ups equals 1 Snickers bar. You probably have like you do the math in your head. 1 hour equals this.
I haven't thought of it like that, but I might. 3 push-ups for 1 Snicker.
So you didn't hear that.
I had a certain amount of when you start something, a certain amount of immediate kind of gains. Kind of
feel good, feel better. Yeah.
But then kind of settled into this thing, and also was kind of overcompensating with food. It wasn't really equal, and also my metabolism slowed down. I'm an older guy. I'm 51 years old now. I was 41 then, so it just did not. The whole eat or workout to eat thing did not work. I was just putting on fat anyway, even though I was working out.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. And did you find because you guys do stuff in there? Did you find you were able to do less, or was there a benchmark of your abilities to do the stuff, or were you at a place where you were just kind of like, I could just do this per day and I'm fine?
Yeah.
Or is there like a sense of progress with that?
I would say if anybody has done a CrossFit workout, or I know there are very similar workouts like HIIT workouts or things like that. CrossFit, and I know there are other sports that are like this, is an amalgam of fitness disciplines that are borrowed from other sports. So there's things that are kind of gymnastic, things that you might do with rings or bars or parallel bars, and there are things that are kind of
Olympic lifts,
lifting,
right?
Powerlifting, deadlift, back squat. There's Olympic lifting, like snatch, clean, those things. Those are very complicated lifts.
Yeah.
So there are things that you can be heavy and still get pretty good at, like a deadlift or a back squat. But then that can help you trying to do a muscle up on some rings.
Yeah. So did you notice? Okay, you can probably the heavy lifts probably weren't affected as much, but the actual agility stuff was.
Yeah.
Were you like, oh, I can't. I'm not going forward with that, or
I wasn't increasing. And for any listeners, out there who kind of tuning out because here's this guy kind of crying me a river.
No.
What I should say is my idea and what I'm getting to is I settled for less than what I should have settled for. I settled for a guy who's just kind of phoning it in. What I should have been doing the whole time, what I've been doing for the last 2 years, is trying to get better.
Yeah.
And part of it was my diet. Part of it was this defeatist attitude. I'll never be able to be as good as blank, that person to my right or person to my left.
And did you have, was there people there that you were like, oh shit, like that particular guy, that particular girl? Like do you have people that are like, there's like that guy Todd or whatever, that guy from high school, freaking Todd, the quarterback, the worst. So you had those guys there that were like, I'll never be like that.
Oh, that was absolutely, there was guys who were just
you weren't imagining some ideal version of someone. You actually had people there. Wow.
And they all had like these nicknames, and they're still there. I doubt they're going to listen.
Rocco.
No, there's a guy who was a police officer. They call him RoboCop. You look at him.
Oh, well, yeah.
He could deflect bullets with his abs. This guy was so yoked.
Yeah.
There's a guy named they called him Bolt because his last name is Boltinghouse. This guy is maybe he's like Andre the Giant, but actually buff. So. And they all happen to be the most encouraging, nice people in the world.
Oh, so
that was the good part. So it's not like there was ever a bully intimidation.
So let me ask you, during this, these lull years or whatever. I mean, you're health wise though. I'm sure the doctor wise, everything was coming out healthy. I mean, blood work.
Were you worried about anything? Or?
I will also say to this day, my employer, which is a major entertainment company who rhymes with Schmizny.
I can't think of it.
We'll have to play back the tape, try to decipher it.
There's a duck. Is there a duck involved in it?
There's I don't know if they've purchased this podcast yet, but they might make me an offer. They're buying up everything.
Yeah. Oh, I have to talk to you about that. We did get a sponsorship offer. I'll talk to you about that off.
Is it a snack? A snack food company?
No, it's a health company.
Yeah, right.
I wish we get sponsored by a snack company.
Yeah, Pfizer, Viagra.
During this time, and as of this day, I am overweight by their standards. So the whole
BMI thing. Yeah. But I mean, you look at this guy.
You're overweight by your employer's health standards.
Absolutely.
And what do they use? The standard BMI thing? Yeah. I mean, but you look at him.
He might be as obese.
That's what they said. That's what it said. I'm obese, or
obese?
I don't know what.
Yeah, you probably fall into this very lean, tall kind of musculature that the protein, the muscle weighs a little more than fat, and then you fall. Yeah, that's common. That's common amongst like people that are in good shape. Yeah. I
guess what I should say is the thing that I would always gripe about is I went 3, maybe 4 times a week to this fitness. Committed to this fitness program that is a pain in the ass. It's hard. Even when you're kind of phoning it in, you're still getting your ass kicked daily. And when people incidentally would ask, what gym do you go to? Or somehow it would work in a conversation. I'd say, well, I go to this CrossFit gym. I would get, you do CrossFit? Like, fuck you.
That kind of hurts a little bit, right?
It kind of hurt.
So obviously you remember those comments.
It's my egos. Like, it's a right attack on my ego. So I was suffering through the challenge, but not getting the kind of apparent results that I wanted to get. And I'm sorry if I've been long-winded about this. But what happened was a coach came up to me one day. There was a lift, like a power clean, I think. And so I've been trying to hit a 225 power clean for quite some time. And it was just kind of always been this like barrier. It's almost like if it's 224 and a half, I could do
like it. 245 plates, right? Or whatever. Or...
It's 245s. It's 445 plates.
Wow. Okay. So that was, you had that as like, this is a, let's say like a landmark or a milestone.
A benchmark. Milestone. I want to get to. And I remember saying something kind of defeatist, so I'm never going to get that. And this coach says, well, why don't you just go for it? Why don't you just try?
Yeah.
And at that point, I realized that applies at least at least to my whole life, but definitely to my fitness life.
Yeah.
Here I am accepting less than what I had intended for the last 6 fucking years.
Yeah.
I've been the guy who's going to be the funny guy in class versus the guy who's really trying. And CrossFit costs a lot. That's not just my gym. It's all the gym. I know fitness costs a lot than maybe everybody can afford. Yeah. If you think of it like that, you can't afford to be unhealthy and you can't afford to have long-term derogatory or detrimental health things.
Yeah.
But so here I was accepting less, accepting being the funny guy versus the fit guy, accepting seeing other people come in and get the results from CrossFit due to their commitment and see the rewards. And I was telling myself, I was spending more time telling myself what I can't do versus what I could do. Yeah. You guys know from doing comedy that you can write a joke, then you write another joke, then you work on it, then you polish it, and then make a bit, then make another bit, and then pretty soon you got a headliner set.
Yeah.
You can work.
Sorry,
I
thought you were talking about me. No.
That means he does. Yeah.
You can work on it bit by bit.
Yeah. It's a mindset. It's a systematic progression. Absolutely.
Yeah. And you can go on stage with some rough idea, a concept, a line, or something like that. And it can bomb, it can fail, and then you work on it, and then it can get a little bit of a laugh, and then you work on it, and it can get a laugh, and then you chunk it together with some more stuff.
Absolutely.
You can make incremental advances towards your goals. And you can do that, in CrossFit just as well as you can do with anything else in life.
Yeah. And I guess with that kind of lift, you could say, oh, I got it. Almost. I got it to here, got it to this point, got it to this point, got it to this point, and then eventually one day you break the 4-minute mile.
Right? You totally can. It is, and there's all these incremental things that you can do to improve those muscles, to improve that technique, to improve that yada yada. I know we were joking around off mic about fitness and comedy don't always go together. And comedy has often been the domain of the underdog, the guy who's not the most handsome guy or gal.
Yeah, there's probably not a lot of CrossFitters doing stand-up comedy. There probably wasn't like, these guys do stand-up comedy too, right? Yeah. And when you go to CrossFit, when you go to a CrossFit gym and you say, hey, I do stand-up comedy, they're like, no one's gonna say, "Oh, we got like 15 comics." No,
exactly.
Even in Hollywood, no.
One thing I would say,
even if it was free, we still went. We wouldn't go.
Totally. The economics of it aren't always good because comics good. It's anyway. But I happen to have a corporate job and some stuff that makes it possible. What I do want to acknowledge is, for me, in the past and in the present, even after I've made all these goals, even after I've accomplished some of these goals, to me, it's all still entirely ridiculous. Like, I know it's crazy. And I have the same feeling when I, lift a barbell over my head. Like, I feel like, hey, I accomplished this. And then, what the hell is this anyway? I don't know. I lifted the bar over my head. Like, what a ridiculous.
Probably, what you have to do sometimes almost is like, you got to do no working out for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And then you realize, lifting that bar, that was a big deal. This is what they call the plateau for a lot of people that work out a lot. You're at a plateau. And you're like, why am I even doing this anymore? But then you don't do it. Yeah. And then you don't do it. And you're like, you know what? That plateau wasn't that bad. like it wasn't, like you're back at that. I guess it's like that whole thing, that one expression. I think it was Frank Sinatra or Winston Churchill, with alcohol, like he drank and woke up in the morning and then his wife didn't drink. And he's like, well, you're not going to feel any better today.
Yeah.
Kind of like that idea. Like you could. Yeah, I hear you though. Yeah, you can fall into that rut. Yeah,
mm-hmm. I will also say that,
or that question could arise. Yeah, after years and years and years, and you're like, that question could arise. Like, why am I doing this?
Well, what I think about it is, CrossFit is a fitness trend. It's been around a little bit of a time, but it kind of borrows things from all these other fitness trends. But if I hang out with my CrossFit bros, I can fist bump them, and we drink our protein drinks and high five each other and get really excited about our lives or whatever. But then if some Zumba people walk in the bar, fuck those guys.
Oh yeah.
What are they? That's some kind of cult. Who are those idiots? Where they
dancers?
But you think no? But that's an interesting thing you brought up is like when you say hanging out with your CrossFit bros, like that is a big deal. Who you hang around? I mean, in your free time, does it? what do you say hanging out with? Do you hang out with a lot of people that you are after the same thing you are physically wise? Or are you kind of like not just kind of hanging out with whoever? Or
yeah, absolutely.
How does that influence your choices on your food and working out and stuff like that?
Oh, okay. So the community of CrossFit High Voltage has a nutrition specialist on staff, and he has consulted with a lot of people in the gym to offer them paid support and education regarding their nutrition. Yeah. And I started for the first time in my life using the term nutrition because I realized diet is a catch-all for the food that we consume. But after a certain point, as an athlete, you start to think of the objective that you have from an athletic standpoint as your goal. And food is the fuel that gets you to that goal.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the nutrition mindset is, it's not, I'm on a diet. I need to diet to lose weight. I'm a diet. It's this stuff that I put in my mouth, these calories. These calories are helping me achieve this goal. Yep. It's the gasoline that I put in this tank. And I can put some high octane, like powerful gasoline in there, or I can put some bad watered down bullshit in there. It all depends on my goals. Mm-hmm. And so that's a mindset change that I've never had in my life. And it's based on getting to roughly the kind of goal place that I want to be. Yeah. So it's changed my outlook from food, looking at all food as like kind of like almost like an attack on me. All this food is potentially going to harm me and whatever. And now I look at it as like, what can I grab that's going to help me kick ass tomorrow at the gym?
Okay. So that's interesting. So that's what got you to your whole view on food changed because you have, this is my objective now. And that changed. Your food isn't like this, it's not like, well, you kind of separate good from bad, I guess, in a broad way. Yeah. And it's like, but I eat to do this. I'm eating to do this versus like maybe some of us have a struggle with like, well, I want to avoid this. And whereas you have a goal, you have this, you're investing a lot of your energy into this and you're getting results and you have to eat a certain way to keep that up. So that's almost like you're putting yourself in the spot to really succeed with nutrition. Yeah.
Well, are you even tempted anymore? Do you?
And that probably reduces. I'm sure you get that struggle. Like what you still have struggles, but I'm sure that mindset is everything. Like now, like you're not as. I guess it's less struggle, probably food wise. I'm assuming.
I think the goals that I have. So I fucking love food and I love alcohol, even though I haven't had a drink for 10 years.
God bless
I love
you.
food. Thanks, man. Yeah, I love.
That's impressive.
I love all of it. And actually, I think it's wonderful, and it's the reason why we're here, all to enjoy all the stuff on that's out there. I love it. I just know the model of the fitness experience they have in CrossFit is this high intensity, low duration thing. So you might you go through a workout of the day that's like 10 minutes long, but that's the most numbing balls to the wall, 10 minutes. That 10 minutes is going to murder you. So that kind of intensity taught me I can do fucking anything for this certain amount of time because I know there's going to be a break afterwards. So it taught me that I can go 6 days of the week eating very clean, eating measured food, eating stuff that's going to fuel me because I know on Saturday I'm going to crush a pizza. And on Saturday I'm going to crush an apple fritter from Dad's Donuts because that's my favorite. Really? That's my favorite food to eat.
I don't know Dad's Donuts.
And it's not really going to have much of an effect.
Yeah.
Or way less of effect that was if you weren't busting your balls all week.
Yeah. And it's also going to be something like I know I can party with food on Saturday and I know come Sunday I can get back using food as nutrition to fuel me because I know Monday we got this hard workout and I want to make sure I got the good kind of carbs in my body to kind of hit that thing.
And how long have you been in this kind of zone right there? Like 2 years?
2 years.
Oh,
2 years.
Wow. And what's the difference in the last 2 years versus the last 6?
So
obviously I don't know what you looked like before that, but obviously right now looking like it paid off.
That's very kind. Yeah,
I'm sure you're not happy. Of course, no one's ever like sad, but like if you. This guy's in shape. Like
So when I got married in 2009, and I weighed. This is just random. This is like the lowest I weighed. I weighed 187 pounds, and I didn't hit weights, and so I wasn't whatever. And that was doing Atkins.
Yeah.
So in Atkins, you're afraid of carbs. Carbs are bad. Carb is not a good thing. But I would pound Diet Mountain Dew, Code Red, and like soda, any diet soda I could find, anything like that. Now I got down to 180. I'm at 185 now, and I've got a 11% body fat. Woo! So for me, I know this is all ridiculous and feels like kind of male vanity and all that kind of stuff. But so I've got more muscle percentage and more output. I feel healthier and
you move through space a lot easier.
Than 10 years ago before. So in my mind, I hacked the system. I hacked time. I went back in time to 10 years ago, and I'm not deluded. I know I'm getting older, but I think I can keep hacking.
Yeah,
I can keep getting better and getting improved and preserve some more youth and energy. So
and that's just as we say in the health business. I mean, your quality of life is. I mean, as long as everything stays the same, God forbid nothing, your quality of life over the next 30, 40 years should be different and better or easier than it would have been if you weren't doing it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I also,
of course, your future self. I mean, you don't want to think that far ahead, but like your future self today could look back to your 2-year-old self and say, thank you, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Like that's what we try to promote that in health. Like we say, it's a classic self-help visualization. Think of your future self. Is the future self going to be complaining and going to the doctor all day and complaining about this, or saying, hey, wow, I'm so glad, we did this nonsense back then because it paid off, or something like that.
Yeah. I will say from a male ego standpoint, I know narcissism and ego is kind of
it's never going away. It's not going away.
Yeah, we're in Los Angeles. We're in Los Angeles.
We're blessed. Everyone's blessed with an ego. Yeah.
I feel very fortunate that I feel like I have this pocket of people. I have this community at my gym, CrossFit High Voltage in Burbank. Is
15 Magnolia, right next to the VFW.
I am not known as the young guy. I'm the old guy, and people joke about me having old man strength. And I won CrossFitter of the Year 2019. Don't treat me any differently. CrossFitter of the Year. And I feel like I am an inspiration to people.
Absolutely. I was going to say, there's people that they're not saying, they're like, God dang, when I'm 40, 44, I want to be like that guy.
Yeah.
Well,
I feel
44.
51. I feel very grateful. And I also compare it a little bit. There's a bigger picture to me, and I'm not in any program. I'm not a friend of Bill W. I respect anybody who needs to do whatever they need to get to it. Right. I was fortunate that when I decided that my relationship with alcohol needed to be over, it was actually pretty. I would say, knock wood, it was pretty easy for me to stop. But 10 years ago, I was the kind of fat, drunk guy who passed out at that party or barfed during somebody's wedding reception. And as a young guy, I wasn't necessarily the guy that everybody would say, I'd like to be like that guy, or I hope I'm like that guy someday. I've had people walk up to me in the gym say, they don't say, I can't believe you're 51.
But you get that vibe. Yeah,
but they do say, man, I hope I'm in your shape when I'm your age.
And that wasn't something you were heard before.
No, yeah.
So it's kind of a new thing.
I was never anybody's
and your ego responds to that. Obviously, you're human. Yeah.
I would also say the fitness community that I'm involved in might be like other ones that are group fitness ones, in which there is a cult. It is a cult. I know it's a cult. Anytime CrossFit is a cult. Anytime they
you don't sacrifice chickens or anything. Like sacrificing little chickens.
Well, part of this cult is everybody blowing sunshine to each other all the time. Great job. You're looking great. Acknowledge when people accomplish goals. Support each other all the time. It's high fives. It's fist bumps. It's come ons. We can do it. It's all this kind of like very mammal behavior. But there's worse things to do. There's worse things to do. And if people get that community out of their volunteering or their place of worship or their office, then more power to you. But I get it out of the gym.
Fantastic. So, and here's a question I'd love to ask you. We'll ask you. How long have you been doing comedy?
2004.
Okay, back in Kansas City?
Back in Minneapolis. I think my first mic was 2004, and I'd been doing improv comedy since college.
You've been around for a while. Yeah. So how did I would say, let's say the last 2 years were changing your physical and nutrition. How did that affect your comedy performance?
Oh, that's a good question. I think there's a lot of it.
Did it? Yeah. Well, yeah. All right. That's the question.
Yeah.
I'm an over-explainer. Stop.
No, lay on.
So how did that impact your performance on stage?
I had to change some material. Like I've got some material about. I had some material about. I have a joke. Hey, I've been trying to get fit, trying to lose weight.
You look at him now, it's like, really, bro? You're not getting laid either? Come on, man.
This joke about, I've been running and, I wanted to see how I was doing at running, so I signed up for a 3K. I show up, it's a Ku Klux Klan rally.
Oh, yeah.
Read the fine print when you... So there was some material...
Now, like an audience, they're not going to buy that. He doesn't run. I think he's in pretty good shape.
You are being kind, but I would say like...
Unless you're wearing like a baggy shirt or something.
I think... it does kind of impact what my act is. I will say in general, I have been recommitting to comedy as well, and I've been recommitting to staying away from jokes that aren't really kind of based in some kind of truth. Actually,
absolutely.
I want to go up there and do comedy. Jokes are kind of this thing that I hope is an outcome.
Yeah, you've probably developed like you understand the setup, like that. Yeah. That like now it's like, all right, I'm just going to take a story that's true to me, and I'll fit it into that. The mechanics of the stuff will come, comedy, but it's not based on just picking some premise out of the air and saying, hey, what do I... Yeah. So, I got you.
And how do you fit all that? I mean, you're talking about exercising at the crack of dawn, and then comedy, of course, is a nocturnal lifestyle. Yeah. How are you?
Can we start at 5:00 a.m.? I'm sure there's got to be a 5 a.m. mic somewhere, right? Like, because you might be more creative, like just coming out of bed, like. Like you're not the fear,
the dreams,
probably the fear, the inhibition part's going to be off, right?
I think a 2 coffee minimum. Most people would
donuts.
And
you just start like run your mouth like you just came out of bed. So you can be creative sometimes in those moments.
Yeah. That's a great freaking idea.
Probably not, and you're not. It's not going to be crowded. It's not going to be. It's not going to be crowded. Yeah, it's been hard to stay even awake at a mic. I think Kyle and I did something where I was just like my head almost hits the floor. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Yeah.
I also acknowledge that the world isn't all the same, and that a lot of comics use their lives and especially their failures to lose weight or get a girl. Or it seemed like last mic I was at, half the comics were talking about how they were on antidepressants and
the other half needs them. Yeah,
needs them.
Yeah. Well, I see many times I'll be asked after the show, hey, you have any pills for this?
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Like for if I say I help people do. Usually it's like, hey, what kind of doctor are you? And I'll be like, I'll make a wise ass comment at first, but then I'll be like, no. They're like, no, seriously, like, oh yeah, could you help me out? Like, I'm trying to like do this. And everyone has always problems. I'm like, well, I said, go to your doctor. Like, they're like, well, I don't have one. It's like, well, then I put me in the best spot. Yeah, but it's true. Like not a lot of comics come on and say, oh, I've been doing CrossFit for 2 years. I feel great, but. You have that's your story. So like I'm sure, and comedy, so you know how to make that work in your own way. Like,
one thing I try to keep in perspective is the group hug of your gym or your group fitness activity or your whatever community that you have isn't always something that translates outside of that into the world. Out in the real world, everybody's got their kind of own issues and their
especially here, right, in Los Angeles.
Yeah. Right in this room,
people busy. No, are people busy here? Like, really, like you don't have time to listen to my story, really? Like,
but like, so that I kind of expect that kind of nuclear eye roll from people when you say, I love my gym, I love working out. Like, come on, please.
Yeah, right. No, I got you.
Not the most sympathetic thing, but I'm, it's my reality, so I think there's no reason. But it was also. What I also think is kind of hilarious about it is the best way to be in your peak fitness at age 51 is to never be in a peak fitness throughout the last 45 years of your life.
That's what I have going for me.
No,
if you're a fat ass your entire life, you can be the best shape of your life.
I've yet to reach peak fitness, I think. Ever.
Like that's
no way to go to it up, man.
I mean, if that's the way, if that works for you, like that's.
And then I also realize I'm turning into that old guy you see at like the last page of the airline magazine. With the gray hair, he's got one barbell, and it's like really.
There's a commercial.
Sexy Santa.
Facebook is is pummeled with those things like that, like
testosterone.
Like there's, then of course you got it. Like this is a 50-some-year-old guy or a woman with him next to him in tip-top shape, and they're doing some physical feat, and then of course it says, like, try this secret stuff. This guy's no, he's working out like everybody else. Like, he's not. He's just that. And you got to watch a video. But that's, I guess, some people pretty convinced we're living longer, so that sells now. When there's all the people in the demographics, there's more boomers, and so that's marketing stuff. Yeah,
I will have to confess that you can't see it because this is audio, but like I have a wrist wrap around my right wrist.
Yeah, it's not one of them old lady wrist wraps.
You know, it was a bowling glove.
Yeah, and he's not wearing Velcro sneakers either. Yeah. There's still hope for the kid.
But when I talk about what happened, I almost sound like and I'm not making light of this, but a victim of domestic abuse who's saying, I hurt myself at the gym, but it's okay. It was my fault. It was my fault. But we were doing power cleans, and I lifted. I caught the barbell kind of on my wrist versus on my shoulders, which is how you're supposed to catch one of those things. So it strained my wrist. So in a way, I'm wearing a badge of honor or scar.
It's like I didn't get this falling down drunk last night off the curb and over there. It's actually from lifting weights. Yeah.
It's fun to talk about for me because
that's inspiring because like you have a story that's not like it's not, I guess, typical, because you had come from a different place and you worked your way up to this place, and it wasn't necessarily easy, but you were. I think your theme is consistent, and I'm assuming it sounds like you're probably, whatever you choose to go after, you're pretty consistent with it. Now, of course, that you said that 6 years you weren't full blast, but you were there though.
I was there.
Like a lot of people, myself included, like we seem to, maybe that seems kind of like, wow, I don't know if I could do anything for 6 years.
Yeah.
I probably just would have stopped. I mean, maybe I might have half-assed it for a year. But I think a lot of us have a tendency to like, all right, well, I'll come back.
Yeah.
Versus like, well, at least you still hung around. And I guess it's hard to measure, but I'm sure that helped. Obviously, sticking around. You just kept, and then the last 2 years you stepped it up.
Yeah,
so,
I think it was kind of a vision.
That's pretty. I'm assuming that carries over to everything you do, right? You probably worked in the same place for a long time.
I worked at the same company for 10 years, and I've actually recently changed my mindset regarding my career path in terms of what would happen if I just tried a little bit harder. And I would say it was I'm assuming we're out here. You're always in a spot to you're not stuck in a stagnant position. I'm sure if you're with that company, I'm sure you have a chance to. Yeah, they're pretty progressive. Yeah, you have a chance to really make some changes that would affect everything, right? Yeah, definitely. I think if I were to push to get some kind of result, something happens. It might not be the result that I intended, but it does put me in a different. I think all that inertia and momentum that you have, you'll land up. You know what? You might land up where you intended, but you're in a new place.
Yeah. And obviously, comedy, you have the sky's the limit with regards to progress. You could add. You could.
Yeah.
There's no end to that. Yeah.
It did, like, I think any fitness objective that you have where you push yourself to accomplish this thing, you go beyond your perceived barriers. You go beyond that thing that you always told yourself, well, I'll never do blank, or I can't do blank, or I'll never be like this person. And you get past that and you realize, no, I can.
Absolutely.
And then you get hurt. And then
I still need that epiphany. My takeaway is, it's like, geesh, like, it's not enough just to be working out. Like, I got to do it all. You got to be fitness and diet and and I don't know.
Water. Gotta drink water. You gotta sleep 8 hours. That's humanity.
I can't. I don't know if I can put the total package together.
I know absolutely that you can, and like, think of it just like working on. You did an hour, so King Size is available on Apple iTunes, and it's very funny, and it's Spotify, and it's Kyle
iHeart.
So I mean, how long ago was it where you're in the mindset of like, I'm going to go talk for an hour.
Yeah.
I'm going to spit jokes out. I'm going to perform for 1 hour. I mean, were you thinking that? Did you commit to like, this is my destiny and it's going to happen? Or were you like, all right, I'll just kind of, and you're like, hey, all of a sudden here it is. It's like, I
guess I just don't. I don't. It's different. It's a different process than actually having to lift and make your heart rate go.
I don't know. Is it different? Is the progression to doing something like what Jeff does on a day-to-day basis, does it equate to progressing in anything else?
I don't think.
No? What? I don't know.
Here's how I think it's similar. You make incremental daily steps towards an objective. And then one thing it's probably similar is you have to kind of, if you're going to focus on something, you have to take something else off your plate. So you have to leave
like
room.
The potatoes.
Like the potatoes.
I haven't had French fries in so long.
I would also say you probably see those painful parts as like bombing at a mic. I've never seen you bomb at a mic, but I've seen you try new material. Bombing at a mic is how you get to the good stuff, right? So if you decide I got to sacrifice a little, I got to fall on my sword a little bit, I gotta suffer a little bit in this area.
I don't get it's like I'm not gonna get as many laughs as that asshole that I hate who just got all those laughs. Like deal with it, right? It's like that guy. He's like, oh, there he goes again, making people laugh. Shit, how do I do that?
Yeah. I would also say that you're not, one thing you've also told me. I think you're doing 9-round or whatever. Yeah. That. Tap into that community.
Yeah, you're doing it. I mean, you're there.
Yeah, but I'm in the 6-year phase here where I'm going to have
however long it takes.
I'm the same pudgy person. I mean, I'm like 243. Like I need to get down to under 200, and so it's not just kick. I can kickbox for an hour 5 days a week. But
one thing I have learned, I know the measuring your weight is
imperfect.
It's imperfect. Yeah. It gives you a sense of the dimension that you're traveling in towards your goal. But what you're doing is you're building muscle. What you're doing is you have all these objectives. So I would get thee to a body spec truck. I would say go to one of those things that'll measure your fat. It'll measure your muscle density. It's gonna suck the first time you go on there because it sucked the first time I went on. Because now you're going to have this kind of goal in terms of your body fat. I want to lessen that body fat. I want to get to this other thing. That's still imperfect, too, because they're going to give you this little thing printout that looks like it was on a dot matrix printer from your school or something like that. But,
body spec truck.
Yeah, body spec is like one of the companies, but it'll measure your muscle to fat ratio. They'll tell you whether you have more muscle in your left leg or your right leg. You might learn that you kick better or your right leg or something like that.
And then you have kind of an objective measurement the next time to see if there's any changes.
I was a right-footed kicker in kickball in school.
So I think pretty soon you'll get off that weight loss, that telling that living and dying by that scale.
Yeah. And well, you missed our keystone habits.
I mean, it's not. That's not like that. Wasn't the.
It helps. It helps you give a sense of dimension as you're going towards your goal because it's because I think you'll see positive results when you do start improving your nutrition. But that's something right now that I'm having a hard time trusting because if I put on muscle, which I don't put on as rapidly as fat, or I don't. I get depressed because the scale goes up. I might be buffer than I was before. My body fat might be going. I'm sorry if this is too like.
No, but you can get a feeling though. You get a feeling like you just probably feel like leaner.
Yeah.
And the scale might not match up with that.
Yeah,
and because your objective isn't necessarily weight loss per se.
Right.
Yeah.
Because now you can't really trust that. It's not a complete picture of your progress that you're making. So. But do you feel like you have a community of people that you can actually talk to about it, or people who are giving you support? Because like I'm in a cult. Like I can go there any day. I can half the people on my Facebook.
Hint. We got a Groupon for this place.
I'm on Twitter. I mean that's pretty much my community. That's pretty supportful.
Get them a Groupon or give them a.
Yeah, I'm sure.
How about this? Would you ever consider doing CrossFit?
I don't know. I'm not
what would be the benefit if you did do CrossFit? What do you think would be the benefit for you?
The benefit
that you don't have now.
That I don't have now. I guess muscle. I'm not a weight lifter. So I guess that would be the benefit. Maybe there's some hot people.
I like what Jeff. Like it could be maybe the community. Maybe you just need to be around, join the cult, without selling your soul.
A lot of your,
but that's where
I'm just throwing it out there. Yeah.
A lot of my evaluation of fitness was this kind of inward thing, and people's journey towards fitness was this very inward thing. When I saw buff people with abs, I thought, oh, they're some kind of crazy, athlete, meathead, or they were born that way. So I discounted all the work that people did to put into this, all the self-discipline. Now, every day I go in and I see all these people who are doing the same, they got the same struggle I do. And I see some of those people kicking ass at that. And I think, if that guy can walk in like I saw him a year ago, maybe 50 pounds overweight or 30 pounds underweight, and he can achieve these goals, he's getting a pull-up. Look at this guy. He didn't have any muscle tone in his upper. I see all these people moving very positively towards their goals, and it inspires me, and it kind of shames me, because if I'm not working as hard as that guy, or if I'm not as focused, or if I don't believe as much as they do, because they clearly believe in themselves, then I feel like, I got to drink some more of that Kool-Aid, and I got to get on that. So there's this community of people that are all suffering, they're all struggling, they all have the same gravity down on them, and they're accomplishing these things. So they inspire me, and they tell me, you can do it, dude. Come on, you can do it.
What flavor is that Believe in Yourself Kool-Aid? Is it we talking like a lemon lime?
It's Gatorade.
It's green, actually, because CrossFit costs a hell of a lot of money.
It's Gatorade. Yeah.
Well,
no, it's inspiring. No, that's very inspiring. Very, very, like, I want to... I'll probably be dreaming of CrossFit tonight. Like, I'll definitely be. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm in a good spot with. I have a trainer, but
that's up your alley.
It's always there, though. It's always there. Yeah.
Heavy weights. That's up your alley, isn't it? I mean,
they don't got to be heavy.
I don't know if I'll be in a good spot. I have a trainer that's we do some not CrossFit, but he's pretty progressive.
Oh, that's fabulous.
We do. It's not all just picking up pig iron and dropping it. We actually do some stuff. So yeah,
that's just what he puts on Instagram.
But
I see him putting up like quarter tons.
I have a flip phone, bro. Right. No, that was okay. I might have had one video. That was many years ago. Yeah.
That's awesome.
No, but that was a long time ago. That was back in the I always put this on Facebook days. But
yeah.
No, he's throwing it. I mean, obviously stories, great stories. Just we can't convince you to do it tomorrow, but just think about it. Well, at least you got a better, way detailed insight into the the first thing I always think of the benefit would be for me being around those people, being around those kind of people would be very inspiring.
Oh yeah,
Same with being around good comics, being around comics that make you feel better than comics that make you feel you can do more than you can versus the people that are the total, which is more the total opposite, but. Yeah, if you're fortunate to have 2 or 3 good comedy friends that make you feel like that, same with your that's
I need those
that
too.
Propels you. Yeah,
I need comedy friends. I need fitness friends. I need diet friends.
We can start the first the first CrossFit cosplay.
Yeah, there you go,
or something like that. Yeah,
CrossFit comedy cosplay.
Well, we're almost at an hour. So Jeff,
fantastic.
Yeah. Where can we find you on social media if we want to find more information?
Jeffrey David Hopkins is my Twitter and Instagram, and Butt Dial Comedy and Butt Dial Comedy Show are my Instagram and Facebook handles. If you'll search Butt Dial Comedy, you'll see the information, or go to buttdialshow.com. You're going to find information about this show that I have running at Acme Comedy Theater in North Hollywood. It's a comedy game show where comics compete to give advice to callers. We butt dial over FaceTime. And it's a lot of fun, and I'd love to see people at the show. And
cheaper than therapy.
What is the how big is that? I've been in. How many people fit in there?
I think it's 100 or less.
Okay. So that's a good crowd.
Yeah. It's super. We've had great crowds, and we've got great comics, including Kyle. So it's been a lot of fun. Cool. And if you're listening to this from a network or a streaming service or those little TVs that go in the gas pump at the gas station, and you want this show, let me know.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic.
Those are the people that listen to us. Definitely the gas station people.
They're buying tasty cakes, right? Yeah.
Dr. Mike, where
I will be. Actually, I'll be in Phoenix. Heading to Phoenix tomorrow for a week of comedy. Show on Thursday. I think a show on Wednesday and Thursday, and then back up in Bakersfield on Saturday.
Oh, busy week.
The Quip Comedy Club, new comedy club in Bakersfield.
What?
Doing a show. Good friend of mine, Eddie Molina.
Oh, okay.
You know Eddie Molina?
No.
I can introduce you to him. Yeah. Good
Please.
guy.
Yeah.
Good guy. So, and then I'll be on the... I'll be hanging out at the Cigar Sanctuary. No jokes. Those guys are funny over there, just smoking cigars. Yeah. That's my only thing I do wrong. Oh.
Yeah, that takes me back to...
I got to do something wrong, right? Yeah.
Takes me back to the Penn State days. I would go to the Penn State cigar store and get the big 2 for Penn State sub shop, the 2 for Tuesday.
That was
nice.
Typical college campus with a lot of places to eat shitty food. Well, I mean, good. At the time, it was good food.
A stogie and a sub. So
that metabolism was a little different.
That was my college.
Yeah.
I don't do cigars anymore. That's all. Just the subs. Yeah. All right. Until next time, thank you for listening. This is Dawkins Snacker and
make the right choice.